We will be covering the new way that you're going to be attaching files in the NIFTY portal, as well as go over some refresher items that the state asked me to share and to review with you as well. So when you go into your NIFTY selector, it looks like this. Nothing has changed in this regard. I'm just going to pick Ryan Reynolds here to open up like you would any other time. And in him, you'll notice on the left panel, there's no more NIFTY files. That is gone. We've changed the whole system to allow you to attach files to anywhere in the record that you are. For NIFTY purposes, attached files should always be attached to the record of the interview date. So this is your interview date and your agency code showing here. I'm doing a demo, so it's 98, not your normal. You are in the 60s and 70s. And to get to the attached files, you just click this paper clip on the right-hand side, and that will bring out a panel of attached files. We currently have none. If we had some, they would show below. To add a file, you just simply click Add. You choose the file. It may say Browse depending on your browser, so you'll just click that. You'll find the file you want. I'm going to go pick some test files I've got out here. 1 second. That's easier. So I have a test file out here. You would put in your description. This is very similar to how you've done it before, so you can say, you know, this is the face sheet, right? Then you'll pick a file tag. This is very similar to your file type you have today. It's the same list to pick from, so you can pick face sheet fan like you're used to. The new thing about this is there's 2 checkboxes that are automatically checked, and you should leave them as such for the purpose of NIFTY portal files, so that the state can access that, as well as any other agencies that might be working in the case and would need access to that. They have access to it now, so it's no different than what you have today. But they'll be able to see it. They can't change anything about it, but they can access the information as well. So you shouldn't touch those 2 buttons. They default to checked because then you won't forget to check them. And then you click Attach File. It uploads it. And now you see here listed is that file on the right. So if you add another one, let's just add another one. I just click Add again, choose a file. I'll choose another test file. And I'll pick a different file tag. Let's say it's a receipt. Again, I don't touch anything on the right-hand side. Click Attach Files, and they'll show up over here. So you can attach as many files as you want. There are no limits. If you need to download the file again for whatever reason, you just click the file name, and when you click that, it automatically brings it down to download in your system window there. The other browsers will act differently, so if you're not used to it behaving like that, then other browsers do perform differently, but this is Google Chrome that's doing this. There's a couple of other buttons over here. I'll show you what those are in a second, but I'll skip the push pin one. To edit it, you just click on the pencil, and for instance, if you picked the wrong category or need to update the description, you can just go ahead in here and change it. So you can do that, and you can, you know, blah, 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 change that. There's also a download icon in here that you're able to download it, excuse me, from here as well. The shorter way, of course, is to click the file name, but you could click the edit pencil and use the download icon as well. And then you're done, you click save. Do note that it does show you who uploaded it, so you know that information like you had before was on the main screen. That's available through the edit panel. So you click save and it edits your file. When you hover over a file, your text shows up in that little box that pops up, so you can see that I put the extra SAD blah 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 googly-gock at the end, so you can see the descriptions from there. So this says it's the face sheet, etc. The other thing I want to point out is in the new attached files for NIFTY, this delete file is actually grayed out. You cannot delete a file at all in the new system because we're not able to put a 24-hour rule in place on these files versus everything else in the system. So because the state wants them locked, eventually we just locked them to begin with. If you make an error and need it deleted, you'll need to contact the state and they can delete it. We may talk with the state about some things because if it's within 24 hours, technically CIM, we could do it for you. But after that, then they would have to delete it just like they have to delete it today if there was an issue with it, okay? So make sure you're uploading the right files under the right person, but you're familiar with doing that already. And get out of there by clicking cancel. So theoretically, you could attach other files to anything else in here. So if you wanted for Ryan Reynolds, let's say, I don't know, that you have a verification of his insurance, his Medicaid ID or something, and you want to keep that on file in the system, you could add files into that record as well and choose that file. I'm just going to choose this again, this file number 2. And then this one does not default to view by state and agencies. You can see only the NIFTY area will. So you could check if you want the state to be able to view it, or you keep it private. And if you want to share it with other agencies for whatever reason, be it another CIL that's on the case or another waiver agency, whatever, you could also check that. But they don't default on things that are outside of the NIFTY portal realm. So anything you want to keep private, if you don't check those boxes, then it's private to your agency only. And then you just click attach file, and that will show up. Now I will show you that right now on the attached files, I have a filter here that says show all. There's also a filter for show files attached to the selected record. If you click on that, it will only show you the files that you have attached to the record you have selected on the left. So that new test file number 2 that I just uploaded is what's showing here. And if I click on this over here on the left, then there's my other 2 will show up. So this is the first test file that we called face sheet. So you can always just flip that back to see everything in case you don't know, where it was. And if you don't know where it was, for instance, the second one, I'm like, where did that come from? I have no idea how that got there, right? You then can use the push pin feature. And what that does is it goes to the record that this file was attached to. So you click on that, it will take you there. So now I see, oh, it was attached to the Ryan Reynolds top record, the participant record. So you know where that came from. So that's what the push pin's about. It's just to take you around. And if I want to click here, it'll take me back to the NIFTY notice record. So it's pretty simple to use. It's just different because you won't be uploading them in here. Now, I will say that for conversion purposes, since NIFTY files was just like NIFTY notes and they were kind of orphaned from the actual interview dates, that all of the files that are converting over from your old ones, which yes, we're keeping all of those, they will actually be attached to this record here. So when you log in and can't find files, click on here or use the show all, and you'll always see them. And you can get access to those converted records from there. Because we didn't know which, a lot of people have many different notices, so we didn't know which one to pick, so we just brought it to the top for you to be able to find it in the future, okay? So that's, pretty much it. If you want the attached files out of the way, you just click this paperclip icon, and it goes back over, so you have more room to do your regular data entry. You click it again, then you get the attached files panel comes up again, okay? And this is your add button to add anything new. But you want to, for NIFTY portal purposes, attach those files to this dated record. You'll click that first, so you're highlighted on that, then click the add button to go continue. There's also a file tag filter. I don't know if you guys are going to want to use this at all, but all this does is say, oh, I only want to see the file tags of face sheet. So it only shows you the 2 files that I said was a face sheet. I can't remember what I did the other one. So the other one was other. So that's there, but then I might get into receipts and you're like, where did it go? Where's all my files? Well, make sure that you have this as show all and this is show all to be able to know that you've looked thoroughly for all your files that may exist. So then you won't lose what they are, okay? And if there's a problem with the file tag, you just, again, click the edit next to the file that you're editing, go in there and make the change. So maybe that's the transition plan, okay? So you can do that as well. Okay. All right. So that's the attached files. Let me just check my notes and make sure I didn't forget to tell you anything. No. Okay. And the other thing too is if you do use the NIFTY Notes feature, you could attach files to the individual notes that you want to if it's relevant, and the waiver agencies could do back and forth if you're working together on anything. You can totally use that to communicate that and share it or not if you're doing it for your own purposes in there. So Anywho. All right, so the next thing, some of the state things that they wanted to talk about is, the first one we'll start with is if you have a notice that's incomplete, there's a few people that are confused about how you resubmit. And so if the state marks it incomplete, they'll tell you usually in the comments below, which are down here, which I don't know if I filled this in because I can't remember now already. So they put some comments in here that they're not showing active or pending Medicaid status. So that's why they marked it incomplete. So until they show up as that, they aren't going to mark it as complete. So once the Medicaid comes through, all you literally have to do in here, we come in here and click send to state. So the send to state button, if I click this, it's going to flip it back to the state as submitted, and then they can mark it as complete now. But you have to resubmit an incomplete notice in order for them to be able to mark it as complete. Okay, so if it says incomplete, that means you have something to do and you need to click, you need to either change information as to what they asked for, or if it's a Medicaid thing and you've figured that out, maybe you've entered the Medicaid ID already, then you just click send to state. Okay, so that's how you do that one. Another situation, let me get this out of my way. I got to go pull up a different person, so I'm going to go back to my nifty selector, and I'm going to pull up Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt, this situation is that I have a complete notice, and I found out that, whoops, I had given them the wrong information of something. I don't know, you know, be it you needed to check another box, you needed to add more to the comments, you didn't fill something in, whatever the reason may be, but it's marked complete, and so it's locked. You can't touch it when it's locked. So what you would need to do is you would need to create a file of, that you will upload to the Secure File Exchange in under the Tools menu. There's the Secure File Exchange, and you'll submit a file to the state specifically regarding notices. You'll be sending them to Angela Westbrook, and you're going to ask her to mark this record as incomplete. And how she does that, she's just going to go down here, and she, at that point, will be able to mark it incomplete, and that will send it back to you that you can make changes and submit it just like I showed you a second ago. So in that Secure File Exchange, in any Secure File Exchange file that you're sending to the state, they want the following information. You should include the full name of the person, so no initials, so you give it Brad Pitt, the full Social Security number, not just the last four, the date of birth, the Medicaid ID, and the reason that you're requesting the change. So those 5 pieces of information should be in every file you upload to the state. And that, like I said, that's under the Tools Secure File Exchange. And let me just go there a second. So if you have a file, you'll select to send it to the state. You'll type in the person of whoever that is. Click, you know, Angela Westbrook for this situation that's not showing right now, but you would click her name, type in the description, and upload the file. You'll see that these are all grayed out. These are grayed out until you fill in all these other required information. So if I type in these boxes, then they light up. So then you can choose the file to upload it, but make sure that the file that you've added has those 5 pieces of information: the full name, the full SSN, the date of birth, the Medicaid ID, and the reason. And make sure you click their email notification before you upload it so that they're notified. And once they get that file, then they will go mark it incomplete and let you know. Okay. So let me go back to where I was. So Brad. So that's what you would do in that type of situation. The other situation that has come up is you have denied exceptions and you need to resubmit them. So I've created a situation in here that we have a denied exception to fee or frequency screen. And in here, I don't even know if I gave it a reason. Oh, it said they denied it because it should be submitted under different coding, okay? And they probably would tell you what it is. I just was doing this for demonstration purposes. And so to resubmit that you really actually cannot resubmit an exception. Once they're denied, it's final, it can't be changed. So in order to do that, you would have to add another exception record by clicking the Add button up here when you're clicked in the exception area, and then enter a brand new exception and send that to the state. Okay, I'm not going to go through that whole process because that's part of just the regular, but once you do that, then you'll have a new record. They'll get notified that they have to go in here and review that and approve that, hopefully. So you cannot resubmit a denied exception. You have to create another one. If they had done it under approved with conditions or pending more info, those ones you can have modified and resend, but you cannot modify a denied exception and resend it like you can a notice. Okay, denied is denied. If you need to reopen a closed transition is the next thing on my list to talk about. I'm going to go into Lois Lane for this. So, for instance, this situation is they closed because they couldn't find housing. Okay, that's the answer you gave in here, for example. And so you actually find housing, common situation, right? So you find housing, so like, okay, let's get them going, let's get them out of here, but I've got to reopen this somehow because it's not going to be closed. I need to change this to a transition. You can't just change it to a transition. The state can't unlock it for you to change to a transition. So what needs to happen is you would again send a secure file exchange file with those 5 pieces of information and asking what you want, and you will send that secure file exchange to Robin Mossberger, and she's going to review it, and then she has to actually send a request to us here at CIM for us to delete these nifty results of the case closure. Once it's deleted, then you can re-enter a new transition with the correct transition information. Now, there are rules about that they've recently, I believe, given you. I know that for housing, they're allowing 30 to 60 days to reopen it, which means deleting this record by CIM and you re-enter it as a transition. If it's been beyond those 60 days, or it's not a housing issue, I think they said 14 days for most everything else. There are special exceptions, of course, so you need to talk to the state about it. But if it's within 14 days of anything else, they will also allow the case closure to be deleted and re-enter the transition. But after those times, such as this one here, this one was closed in March. March is more than 60 days ago. So as much as our summer is starting to end, being August 1st, it's sad, I know, but it's been quite a while now. So in this situation, you would not request the state to delete this because it's too old. They are going to tell you, no, we're not going to have you enter this as a transition. Instead, what you need to do is enter a brand new notice. And to do that, you're going to click on Nifty Transition Diversion at the top, right here, okay, and click Add. You cannot click Add from within any of this record because this is a specific record. So you have to click at the top node, you click Add, and then it will prompt you for your interview date just like it does when you didn't have anything there before. Okay, so you can add multiples of these. You don't have to reopen the old one, and you can't in those situations. Another thing regarding this that we've been getting a few things here about, the waiver agencies have episodes that will show that they have in here that you'll see through statewide search. Those episodes have nothing to do with the transition diversion. Your transition diversions are not episodes. They are not overlapping in any way. The only thing that overlaps that prevents you from entering information is another nifty transition diversion record. So if you can't have overlapping ones between this notice date to the case closure date. So when, I got to click here to see the case closure date at the top here. So 3/27. So basically, I can't enter a nifty transition diversion record that's in between that date range of 11/13/2017 and March 27th of 2018. I can't. I can add a new one that starts after March. I can't enter one that is before November because it's too old. This is a more future thing, and you can't have, it would create an overlap because you can't open it and close it right away. So because of that, you can't put in old information, but you can enter one that starts after this. So in that housing situation, you're not going to re-enter the same notice date. You're going to create a new notice date of whatever date you started working with them on housing again and start from that point forward, okay? So not from these older dates. Okay. So, like I mentioned, if it's within the period of time that it's allowed, you need to send a secure file exchange file to Robin Mossberger to have her delete this case closure so that you can enter it as a transition, okay? If the transition or case closure in here is wrong, okay, so either one of them, that you have bad data. Maybe you put the wrong close date or the transition date's incorrect, and you find out after you've already submitted it. So it's locked for you. If you need that changed, you would again send a secure file exchange to Robin Mossbarger, and you'll ask for her to unlock the record. And how she does that, there's a checkbox down here. You can see if she unchecks that checkbox, then this will then enable for you to be able to make changes, and then you'll make the changes and click send to state. So if you're just making changes to the data within the record, then CIM has nothing to do with it, and you still have to contact the state. In this case, Robin is taking over that she would go in and unlock it, and then you would then be able to come in here and change the data and send to state to make it locked up back up again, okay? So I know it's a little confusing with all of the various ways of doing it, but that's how the state wanted it to work. And again, make sure when you're doing a secure file exchange that you select the state user in the email drop-down to make sure that they get it. So that is all I have for you today. So I'm going to go look and see if any of you have had questions. If you have questions, again, that is below in the panel of the webinar. You'll see a questions section. If you expand that, you can type them out and send them to me. So I'm going to take a peek and see if anybody's got anything so far. Yes, we do. Okay. I have one. Would you recommend attaching copies of their ID, SSN card, birth certificate under their name for other agents in the future? Yeah, I mean, you can, but I wouldn't do that if it's not for your needs. If you want it there for your purposes, you can do that. But if you're just doing it to be nice to others, I wouldn't worry about it. That's, extra work for you. It's not necessary for Nifty. It was just, that was an example I was giving you of maybe things you want to do. I know with this new change that you can attach files anywhere and have unlimited, the waiver agencies are planning to try to go paperless in charts. So in order to do that, they would need to scan in a lot of information and attach them to the files for all of these confirmation information. So if that's something you're interested in, there's other things in your agency that you'd like to scan in and upload, or you already have files of it to upload, you can do that to wherever you need to, okay? We will be making, this is being recorded, so at the end of this, the file has to be converted, and after that's done, we will put it up and send you the link to this recording, and we'll send it to everybody that was invited to the webinar, so everybody will get a copy. As long as I emailed you about the webinar, I have your email address. If I did not send you directly an email and you registered because your boss or coworker sent you the information, then you'll want to send me an email at Melissa, M-E-L-I-S-S-A, at CIMinc.com, C-I-M as in Mary, I-N as in Nancy, C.com, Melissa at CIMinc.com, and let me know so that I know your email address so that I can include you in sending you the recording link, okay? Next question, do consumers need to be temporarily closed if their Medicaid lapses? I don't know that question. That's a question for the state. I was not made aware of how that works, so I don't know that. I don't know if they go down to that much detail or not, so I would ask Angela or Robin probably about that. Okay. I'll wait a couple of seconds to see if there's more questions here. And you can always contact the help desk here if you have more questions as a result of the webinar. I'm sure it's going to take some adjustment on your end to get used to the new attachments and how to do that, which we're hoping that the recording will help with reminding you of how that works. Okay, another question. Will Compass show Medicaid status for all users on the Nifty page? The Nifty page didn't change at all, so whatever it shows you today is what it will show you after the release. I believe the Medicaid status that it shows is coming from the notice record in where the state marks at the bottom here. Oops, not that far down. I'm getting out of the way here. They mark this Medicaid status here. So that's not tied to any system. So it's not coming from CHAMPS. It's coming from what they found at that exact time that they looked. So that's the status that prints on the Nifty selector. So if that's what you're looking for, then yes, that's on the Nifty selector today. Otherwise, nothing else about the system and how you use this changes. It's just the method of doing attachments is the only change that you're going to see from this release. And I just was going over the other processes for a refresher, the ones that the state prepped me for. All right. Any other questions? That's all I've got so far. I don't want to cut anybody off if they're typing and haven't gotten in yet. All right. Well, I haven't seen any more questions, so again, you can always contact us at the help desk. It's our phone number is 734-930-0855, or you can email directly to our help desk, which is cimhelpdesk@ciminc.com. So it's just like my email, but it's got CIM Help Desk instead of Melissa. Okay. All right. Thank you all for participating today, and we wish you luck next week. And hopefully it's much easier than you're expecting. Thank you.